Hey YouTube, this is JUSTICEMAHN from Team Variable. So we haven't done videos, I guess, since the new format back in end of August, September. So since things have changed with the format, the decks have improved, and Infernities were in my last video, and I promised I would make new ones, but even the Infernities have changed, so I'm going to start with the Infernities, and I'm going to try and get all three decks, maybe four, done today that are mine. So starting with the Infernities, we have Destroyer. I don't even remember if I had that last time, but I have Destroyer now, and no cards in your hand, inflict 1,600 damage to your opponent when it destroys a monster. Good level 6. If you run out of all options, it's a good card to have. It also works with Beetle to summon 100 Eyes, which is basically the entire structure of this kind of OTK. Mirage. X has a Mirage, and he refuses to give it to me, but technically you can count it as 2 Mirages in this deck, but yeah, there's a Mirage, special summon. It has to be 2 Infernities, but it's a great card. My 3 archfiends, my 3 common guardians from Gold Series 2, 3 beetles. I've taken out Dark Crusader. The other ones, at least, I took out Dark Crusader and Snipe Hunter. Dark Crusader is still good for hand clearing effects, but I still think it's better than Dark Refer, but it is not as important to the deck anymore as it used to be. 3 necromancers, just great special summoners, and 3 avengers. They come out great, help synchro summon really well. They are the main link in the summoning of the 100 Eyes is for the OTK. Next thing, spells. Big change is I got Launcher from X, who refuses to give it back, but who refuses to give me Mirage. But, you know, I got Launcher, so that's a big boost. Launcher, which once per turn you can send an Infernity monster from your hand to the graveyard, and when you have no cards in your hand, you can send it from the field to the graveyard to special summon up to 2, which makes it better than Mirage in the fact that you can choose 1 if your field doesn't allow you to have 2, or if there aren't actually 2 Infernities in your graveyard. So it works great, but you can special summon up to 2 Infernity monsters in your graveyard and special. Yeah. Zero Max, I don't know if you remember it, but it's a little used card, but it's a great card, especially if you have Doom in your graveyard. Activate only if you have no cards in your hand, which means you have to play it face down and then flip it face up to activate. But it works great. You can't use your battle phase when you do it, but you can special summon an Infernity monster. And when it's special summon, you destroy all cards on the field with attack lower than it. Now that doesn't mean lower than or equal to. So you can choose a monster like Archfiend, and if you have another Archfiend, it won't get killed. But if you summon Doom, which has 3,000, it just clears most of the field, and it's a great card. Foolish Burial. I got this out of Merrick, Structure Deck Merrick. Finally got it, and now I can start sending cards to the graveyard like Avengers. Giant Trunade. Right now, since Heavy Storm is gone, it's the best field clearer I have for this deck. Cold Wave is counterproductive to it. It keeps you from playing cards that you want. So Giant Trunade is currently the best one. Swords. Just a good stall thing in case you draw the crappiest hand you can possibly get. You might as well use swords. Magical Stone Excavation. Again from Merrick. Great for getting back Launcher or really anything else. It's just a good addition, and you can discard 2 cards from your hand to use it. So that's a good hand clearer. But be careful because you might just be dead space on your field if you don't have any cards in your hand and you keep using up 1, so you can keep using the Infernity effects. Dark Hole. It's Dark Hole. It destroys all monsters on the field. Allure. Again, Merrick with the common version. Draw 2 cards, then remove from play 1 dark monster. Just choose the ones that you can really give up the least of. Destroyer is a good card to get rid of for Allure. Dark Crusader can go if your hand is if you have a good hand. Otherwise, if you're full of monsters, you want to keep Dark Crusader and clear your hand. I wouldn't advise sending a necromancer. An avenger can be spared. Sometimes a beetle can be spared. Guardians are really good to just send for Allure. So some cards you just have to have in your deck just to get rid of for Allure and not give up your best cards. Wave Motion Inferno, just a great hand clearer. The hand boosting effect, not so great, but you can send the face-up card from the graveyard to send all cards from your hand to the graveyard, which is just awesome. 1-for-1, really just used for pulling out Mirage. This combo actually doesn't come up as much as it used to, but because I'm using up cards a lot faster, and 1-for-1 doesn't get a chance to come out. And Monster Reborn. Our friends at Konami decided to make a poor decision of letting Monster Reborn come out while Infernities were out. So, last thing, traps, Infernity, Inferno, discard 2 cards and send the same number of Infernity cards from your deck to the graveyard. Just great like Foolish Burial, but you also get your hand cleared. Infernity breaks, I have 2. You can remove from play, activate only if you have no cards in your hand, and you can remove from play an Infernity card in your graveyard to select 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it. Great if you've already activated Inferno or a break, and you can just remove from play one of the Infernity traps. I would really not advise removing that many monsters. Again, if you want to remove a Guardian, a Destroyer, sometimes a Beetle, sometimes an Avenger, sometimes, yeah, those can go. Even an archfiend can go sometimes. There's 3. Yeah, it should come up again. Ultimate Offering. 2 of them. Just great for summoning out your hand. But since it doesn't come up that much, it is... it's just a good way, instead of Dark Crusader, which just sends everything to the graveyard, you can pull everything out of your hand to the field. Mirror Force. Straight from Structure Deck Merrick, which I bought on Friday. Just a great... It's Mirror Force. I don't even have to describe it. It's just great that I have it. Torrential Tribute. Just a good field clearer. Especially for a deck that special summons from the graveyard as much as this one. Transmigration Prophecy. Works like Infernity Launcher, but it isn't. It's great for getting monster cards back to your hand, like Mirage or Archfiend or something. Call of the Haunted. Again, another special summoner. 7 tools. Just because I'm using my Dark Bribe in another deck, and I traded a barrier off so that I could complete the rest of this deck. And then finally, Dark Illusion, just as a backup effect blocker. And it's okay, but the only problem is that it's negate the activation of a spell trap card or affect monster's effect that targets a face-up dark monster and destroy that card. Mirror Force doesn't target. So Dark Illusion isn't going to come in too handy against that. 7 tools will work. Dark Illusion is good for like Divine Wrath or Smashing Ground or Fissure, something like that. Compulsory.